Hello, Joe and Toss, by the way.
Hello.
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 Hey, it's the schmuck.
That's me, the red pill schmuck, Sudafed all week.
Oh, really?
Man, I got nailed. Must be something going around. But Tuesday morning, I woke up. I was talking like a real schmuck like this. You see, so we're going to talk about dual building today. And forget about it, okay? Anyway, I feel better now. So I just did what did I do?
Someone's got their mic on, by the way.
Yeah, somebody's got their speakers or something.
It's Matt. I will. It's not Matt. It's Matthias. I will have to let him know when he gets back.
Okay.
Right.
But I feel better. I did a Life in Linux podcast with Switch to Linux about an hour ago. So
nice.
Yeah, just something going around. My friend got nailed in his son. So man, it just right here, like boom, like, and you can't breathe. I feel like I took an Arch Linux pill. It's all, But
wow, that's a shot across the bow.
I'm a schmuck. Okay, so what do you want?
You did make a video about being a schmuck.
It was
Mr.
Linux Thursday, Brian Lunduk. I like his show, and he made me laugh. I needed a laugh. So, Brian, if you watch this, thank you. You made me laugh in a good way. It's been a rough week. But he said, what did he say? He says dual booters are schmucks. I just, okay, all right. He says, well, you should try a VirtualBox, better USB stick, a separate machine, which I kind of agree. Those are safer ways, but I haven't had any issues dual booting. But
I don't agree, only because you really can't check out a distro without. I mean, you can check it out somewhat, but you can't check it out with your hardware to see how it's going to react with just doing it in the VirtualBox. So
that's true.
It's a good start to do VirtualBox. But
I think he was talking about just being safer, I think.
Yeah.
But I saw his point, but but he was saying, boy, if you install that, then Linux or Windows will mess it up. I'm like, no, it won't. At least not for me, but.
Well, that must make me a schmucker. Because I've got about 8 triple boot things, whatever.
Well, I do know that there are times where Windows will mess it up if you install Windows after
Linux.
Yeah. So I usually install Linux before and then.
Well. Anyway, he made some good points. I mean, I could see where he was getting at, but the way he said, he says, dual booters are schmucks anyway. It's just the way he said it, like nonchalant. It made me laugh. But anyway, Schmuck OS, that's what I use. No, but
well, when he does videos like that, or when anybody does videos like that, I don't even click on it. So,
well, I don't think he meant it to be like degrading or to be,
no,
unfriendly.
I'm just saying I consider the video clickbait. You know what I mean? So.
Well, the thing is, when you use VirtualBox, the only reason I use Windows, I dual boot Windows on one computer, my little laptop, and that is only to do things with iPhones within the family when they got an issue.
Yeah.
Now, iPhones don't work with VirtualBox. Some of I think iPhone 4 and less and before, but anything after, I don't think so. Maybe 5 does, but I don't think 6 and onwards.
Hey, Colin,
That's
get
the big problem.
your pronunciation of it right, buddy. Call it wind blows as long as you're in the Linux thing here.
Sorry.
We'll have the alarm go off.
Wind blows.
Micro shaft, micro crap, micro. The list goes on. But I have to use Windows to hook up my iPad, my Microsoft Zune.
That's right.
It ain't gonna work in Wine. Wine is pointless. If you really got to use a Windows application, then boot into Windows. But that's just me,
Well, Wine was more important years ago when there wasn't many programs that were actually perfected on Linux, or there wasn't as many as there are now anyway. But slowly but surely, we've come so far that there's so many different choices of programs and so many work so well that Wine's become less and less and less important over the years.
Well, Rocco, I was all prepared to keep my promise and be on MX-17 tonight, and I wasted an entire day with it. I am brokenhearted because I am and I'm not, because I still love my Mate. I really do. But I loaded it up in there, wiped out Windows on that other drive that sits there that I never go into anymore, loaded it up, and I have kind of the same haunting curse, whatever you want to call it, thing with XFCE on this computer. It ran phenomenal. I actually figured out how to get the wallpapers over. It's really bizarre, actually, almost how you do it, because you go to change the backgrounds on your main window, you drag that window over, then all of a sudden you see the choice change in the bottom, and there's a little drop-down tab, and it says XFCE. It goes from backgrounds to XFCE. Click on it, change backgrounds, boom, it was done. But then when I loaded up the proprietary NVIDIA drivers, the first time I didn't have any kind of NVIDIA server option in there. And I thought, what is up with this? That's kind of strange. So screwed around again, reloaded it again. And that time I got it to work, was able to get the NVIDIA drivers loaded. But twice I tried going into American Truck Simulator, graphics went goofy. All of a sudden I get this massive, I couldn't see half the screen or whatever. And when I finally was able to get shut out of the game, shut it off, I noticed that my widescreen 3440 by 1440, which is actually like almost 5300 and something resolution, was all changed too. So I had to go back and change that. So I don't know. I am just literally scratching my head. Is it something to do with my video card, because I've got DVI and this is on an HDMI? Does it have to be a DisplayPort thing? Or is it just XFCE doesn't like it?
It's the new special effects feature in MX-17. It just goes.
Well, it's not just MX though either, because I thought, you know what, the heck with it. I'll try throwing Peppermint on here. And Peppermint, I didn't get as far as trying American Truck Simulator because it did the same thing with it. As soon as I was able to tell it to get both monitors in there, all of a sudden that thing, and I kind of expected that a little bit. But it seems to be an XFCE thing with this computer. It just does not like it on its hardware. I could run it in here in VirtualBox. It runs great, but I obviously didn't try running American Truck Simulator. So I really am lost. I don't know. And Mate's running fine. And it's like, I finally thought to myself, I said, why am I trying so hard to change a distro that's working for me?
It's human nature. We want to break things that work, but
well, Joe, it's like I have trouble with XFCE with the dual monitors. That's one reason why I'm not running it now. So it sounds like it's a similar issue, that it's not able to detect it the right way. And that is something to do with XFCE, because I had it on Peppermint and on MX, and on Ubuntu. So
which is really weird, because I'm running 3 monitors at the moment. And it's fine.
Yeah, but I think it has to do with specific hardware or maybe a specific driver set, because
it has to be.
Joe, you're the first person besides myself that I have found that has a similar issue to it. Ryan has no problem running dual or triple monitors on XFCE, but for some reason I can't. So, well, I mean, I can. It's just that they don't pop up on the right windows. They have glitches. They have issues.
Well, interestingly enough, when I run my ATS on here on Mate, the maximum setting I could put it as 1920 by 1080, and even for my widescreen. And believe it or not, it works. Yet, I was starting to wonder, is that the issue with XFCE on my particular computer? But then before I switched to this new widescreen, I had a 25.5-inch screen on here, and it did the same thing, and that was 1920 by 1080 with Peppermint. So because I started scratching my head thinking, well, maybe it's the high-res monitor that it doesn't like. But I have heard where some of these require a DisplayPort. You have to run it in a DisplayPort, and that's the one thing I didn't try. But
but I run mine. Huh? I run mine in DisplayPorts. I actually bought 2 DisplayPort cords, and thought the same thing, and it didn't help.
Yeah,
so I don't graphics card. Huh? What graphics card are you running, Joe?
I'm sorry.
What graphics card are you running?
And mine's a little bit older, but it's an NVIDIA GTX 760, 4 gig.
Yeah, should be perfect.
It should run fine, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. And I actually had 384.111 was the driver. So
this must be a dual monitor problem, isn't it? Because I've got a problematic. I've got that mobile NVIDIA on this laptop here. Now I've just been running MX17, and I installed Compton. I installed the NVIDIA drivers. Everything's running sweet, and even no screen tearing. So it must be a dual monitor thing.
Well, I'm wondering, the one thing I haven't tried, I kind of gave up a little bit here because I got some other more pressing things, but if I can make some time, I did leave it on there. I just think what I might do is maybe I'll disconnect the second monitor just to see because the thing that bugged me was, if I can't run Steam on it, run my gaming, which is really what I want to do too, besides working on it, it's not worth it for me. So I just thought it'd be nice to have something to switch off to once in a while if I felt something different. Because I do like MX17 and I like Peppermint as well, but MX17 has that additional customizability over Peppermint that I like.
And this is just us using XFCE environment?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think it's got to come back to XFCE because if Rocco's having the same issue and I am too, there's got to be something. I don't know if it's a motherboard thing because my video it's dedicated, but it's still plugged into the motherboard.
XFCE, I don't know. Extra. Forget about a crappy environment. There you go.
I don't think it's a motherboard issue though, Joe. I think it's either a driver issue or a specific setting in XFCE not able to handle certain configurations with dual monitors.
It have to be.
I don't know.
I have the same problem, but I have Linux Mint and Cinnamon. Won't work good with ETS or ATS.
I didn't have any problems when I was running Mint on here. Mint Mate actually, and.
That is surprising.
What I did notice, which is really bizarre, normally, and I don't know that you could really put any weight into this, but when you look at the network indicator, I have the icon set I have has the bars that go up. The last bar was always not a full signal and might flicker back and forth. Ever since this happened to me the other day, and I went into the BIOS and disabled that drive too, and I had to go to the 2.4 gigahertz, which I haven't changed since last week with the stuttering. That thing's been solid for the past 24 plus hours. It hasn't fluctuated. My signal, I ran a speed test on it, and I've got a 60 meg service, and it pulled almost 70 megs on it. So I have no clue. I'm like scratching what little hair I got left.
Yeah, well, I'm going to check out this is not the daily build, right? Did you check it out, Joe?
No, it was 17. It wasn't the 17.1 because I know that was coming out. But I think, it might sound crazy, but I am still kind of toying with the idea of seriously considering going to a 43-inch because this way I could go to one monitor, split it in 4 sections if I want, still have the equivalent of what's 21 and a half, to do my work environment. And if I do that, maybe that'll make a difference. But if I still ran into an XFCE problem on a single monitor, then I know there's something else going on with XFCE besides that. It's not just dual monitors. It might be a high-res thing too.
There's no problem on high-res because I'm running a 43-inch 4K.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The monitor you're looking at there, that's the same as yours, Joe, 3440 by 1440.
Okay.
I'm interested to see if 1804, the daily builds, have that issue fixed, because that would be so awesome.
Well, Mate, when I first saw Mate, I had kind of a similar issue initially, and then they fixed it. And that was probably when I went from 1604 to, was it 1704? I can't remember. Either way, it was the next jump up. It might have been 1610 or whatever. Either way, and then that's been fixed, and Mate runs perfect. The only thing I noticed with Mate is when you put the proprietary drivers, which is not surprising, is the boot up. You know how you have that nice little logo and then they have the little scroll dots? That gets distorted on boot up, but the system runs differently once it's up. And I've noticed that on most distros on here, it'll do that. That once I load the drivers, the boot up looks a little different. So,
Derek, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up?
Not much, brother. What'd you try out this week?
A few things. I did Arco Linux. I did their awesome window manager edition. It was pretty cool. What I looked at KDE Neon. I'd actually never looked at that one either. So I know
Really?
Yeah, I've actually never installed KDE Neon until this week.
So what's your thoughts on it?
I mean, it's just Plasma out of the box. I mean, it's just your default KDE Plasma. There's nothing extra to it.
Nope.
If you're a Plasma guy, you're following the latest development of Plasma and the Qt toolkit, then it's the way to go. But I'm not a KDE guy, so again,
well, I was highly disappointed because 5.12.3 came out like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And I just got it tonight. Like I kept checking for updates and checking for updates.
It was already in Gentoo.
Yeah, I mean, well, normally in Neon you get the updates immediately, but for some reason I wasn't getting the updates, and I was frustrated.
I just downloaded the Kubuntu, the beta 1 today to try in my ThinkPad. 2 gigs of RAM. That thing, it's a rocket ship. I mean, it just zips. Very impressed so far. Very impressed.
I did the mainline Ubuntu daily build a couple days ago. I did the minimal one just to see what the difference was, and it's like almost no difference between the full install and the minimal.
Yeah,
1,509 packages are in the minimal install. 1,550 packages are in the full install. So that's the difference.
That's quite a diet.
Yeah. Basically, they took out LibreOffice, Shotwell, and Rhythmbox.
Okay.
And that's
Well, I'm
Here,
using
though, there's a bunch of libraries that come with each of those. So even though it just may seem like a couple packages, some libraries may still be there, may be used by different packages. So it really depends on the size of those packages. Like you could have just had 10 different packages that have that are 200 megabytes a piece removed. Like there's no like I said, I wouldn't personally make that determination on it was just 10 packages. Right. So
and then there was chicken.
Is there now?
Chicken.
Hey, chicken ain't nothing but a bird.
Mr. 1.5 pound omelette.
Talking about, but in terms of dependencies, I guess in a way, because everybody complains about KDE dependencies. So if you think about it, a lot of them, even though there's so many of them, a lot of them are really small. So making a judgment on the amount of data you're pulling in or taking out really isn't useful unless you have the actual size itself.
And did you come to that conclusion by elementary, my friend?
I come to every conclusion by elementary.
I saw you was a French fry in the shape of an E or something.
Well, Simon, do you know what packages Kubuntu? I mean, is there specific ones that each flavor takes out, or is it all? Did each flavor get the same minimal install?
So I'm gonna have to look because each flavor has their own file that they can just put stuff in. It's easy enough to look. In fact, let me take a look and see if Kubuntu actually does anything with the minimal install option.
The removing Plasma.
Yeah.
Matt, what's going on, brother?
Not much. Sorry for the bad audio. I'm on my laptop, though.
It's all good.
Go back on the train. It sounded better.
See, that ain't right. It's so not right. It does sound bad, I have to say.
I'm not lying. But, it's what it is, unfortunately.
Well, I have Ubuntu 18.04 on a USB ready to try out. And I also have Xton. What is it? Xtix. Is it Xton or is it Xtix Deepin version?
Xtix, I think is called.
There's two of them. There's an Xton and there's an Xtix, but they're both made by the same guy.
Yeah, I'm not sure which is which. But anyway, I got that Deepin version because I have not tried a Deepin version in such a long time. I downloaded that to try.
It's a weird name, Xtix.
Yeah.
It sounds like a skin rash. I got a severe case of X ticks. God, you know.
Wait, we're talking about Linux here, man.
Yeah.
All of them are weird names.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Uh-oh. He's here. Shh, don't talk about him.
Michael.
I'm trying his own show, but late for this one.
Mikhail is here. Hello, Mikhail.
He got worn out after the 3+ hours. I don't know when he quit at, but it was over 3 hours when I had to leave today.
I think it was 5.
Holy cow!
5 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
What?
Maybe. Wow.
It's all
Maybe
those
you
YouTube bucks. You can
call
spend
yourself
all the time.
Max Digital after
Right.
the day.
Right.
What possesses you to do a 5-hour stream?
Jesus.
I don't have a reason.
Madness.
It just happens.
Madness.
Yeah, madness could be it. Yeah.
So-
I enjoy doing it, so it's nice. And then after about 3.5 hours, it just kind of blurs into like this whatever.
I have a list of, well, Kubuntu doesn't, just an update from before, Kubuntu doesn't actually remove anything on that minimal install checkbox. They don't have a file in their seed
Yet.
So, I mean, I think that's something that.
So wait, does that mean that they won't have the minimal install option, or they just don't take anything out themselves?
I think I'm looking at the platform seed right now, which is the common seed for all the flavors. And they don't have any specific things that they, unless I'm reading this wrong, any specific things that are taken out for all the flavors. So, my guess is that is how it's implemented. That if there's nothing to remove, the checkbox just won't be there. I have to confirm that though, because there could be, some common things that are removed. There could be some things hard coded into the Ubiquity code, like instead of doing it semi gracefully. If anything, though, with the minimal install checkbox, it's not done in a nice way. Basically, it installs a system, and then whatever packages are in that file, it just removes those packages after the fact. So it installs them, but then just removes them. So the goal is to eventually move to just stacking the live images. So right now, if you boot an ISO of Ubuntu or a flavor, you get it boots up like a, I don't know if you know what I mean, but if I say like Squash FS, so it's like a tarball. It's the whole system is tarred up into one file, and then it boots that up there. And it stores that in RAM while it installs that Squash FS file to the system itself. So instead of installing that Squash FS to the system and then removing those files, they're investigating right now in the Canonical Foundations team, actually stacking those. So you would have a system that boots up that would have the extra applications like you mentioned before, like LibreOffice or something like that. It would be as part of a like a stacked Squash FS. So it sits on top of the core Squash FS. So if you check that box, instead of just copying that over, instead of writing that tar directly to the disk and, just that one big tar, it would write just the core one, and then it wouldn't do anything with the additional one. So it's a little bit of a complex concept. I personally don't know how they're going to implement it, because it's going to be a complex thing, but I've not heard any timeline for it. It's not completely official, although I was told they don't care if it's public. So it's, something that's happening.
Right. Well, I guess we'll have to, as always, wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and that's the other thing I got to check out.
Being discussed.
Is MX Linux, the release candidate.
It's running like a dream.
Is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Rocco. Did you mispronounce elementary?
Yeah, well, I might have. But right now there's so many things to try out. It's like Distro Hopper's dream, you know what I mean? Like it's awesome.
Especially with the LTS coming out, you've got even more options from things basing off of it. I mean, there's betas coming out for things like I think the elementary beta is out, and I think the Mint betas are going to be coming out soon.
Is the elementary beta out for everybody, or is it out for?
I think it's patrons.
Well, then I will have to check it out because
might have to go into that.
Yep.
They did.
Well, I was running.
Rickroll us. They posted a free link to the ISO on Twitter, and it was actually just a Rickroll. So
wow.
It should actually be hard to find though.
Well, I'm gonna have to check that out because all of the things that they're doing in that, oh my gosh. We talk about it in the episode of Destination Linux. We cover elementary, and man, there are so many things that they're doing to make it look that much better.
It's already gorgeous.
I mean, I know, but that's what I said. For a system that is so beautiful and has already focused on how it looks and just the streamline of everything, to continually, I mean, this is why they're the #1 looking desktop environment or distro or operating system out there, is because they are constantly focused on what it looks like and how it reacts to you. Like they're doing things like the little notification icon is going to have an animation bell when you get a notification, rather than just a separate notification icon.
I'm both thrilled and worried about that, because if you're using an alternative icon set, I'm not sure if they're going to have the little.
Well, they're probably not.
You don't have alternatives.
Yes, exactly.
The only icon set I found.
Try and customize it. Forget about it.
Honestly, the only icon set I found that completes everything and doesn't have like improper icon placements within elementary is the Suru icon set. That's the only one. With Mocha, I have to manually change a few of the applications. And with Papyrus, the scaling is way off, so some of the title bars will be huge because it's trying to fit in like a 256 pixel icon.
Yes, but is that an icon problem, or is that
that's
elementary problem?
Yeah, because I mean, Papyrus just more or less like lays out like this icon is for this icon's for that, and it's just kind of standardized stuff. And elementary is calling things that like aren't quite standard. Like for like the screenshot tool, it's screenshot -utility or something like that, which isn't an icon, so you have to change the name of it.
Right.
So, it's kind of an
the
thing.
same way with Ubuntu Mate, right? Where the icons aren't in the system tray, they're not always up to the same pixels as each other. So but I don't think that's an icon set.
I think that's just a scaling thing.
Yeah, that's a Mate scaling thing.
Yeah, that's actually one thing I love about elementary, is because the icons in the tray are typically always like very well done.
Yeah, they are. They're well spaced.
Elementary is very pretty.
Yes, it is.
Chicken inspired me to install elementary on the daughter's laptop, but I've taken it off because I could not get my printer to work. I spent 3 hours trying to get that thing to work.
Wow.
And when the terminal tells you you must install libtool before you can go any further, and you install libtool and it still says you must install libtool before you can go any further, I'm not going any further.
Yeah, that's not going to be.
Is that where you draw the line, Colin?
That's where I draw the line.
Oh my God!
Telling you install it, I draw the line. That's it. I had enough.
Man.
But I thought, in all fairness, I thought it is a fairly new printer. So elementary is a little bit older, so I thought I'll wait till Juno comes out and we'll give that a try, because it'll definitely be up to speed.
Yeah, with the way 1804 has handled printers as well, like they did it after 1604. I think they implemented like the driverless printing stuff in.
That was 1704. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, but when it rebases, it should be much better.
Yeah, I think so. Because it does run really well. It's really snappy on this low spec laptop. So I was pretty happy with that. Just when you get those sorts of issues, I know the daughter will want to print for sure if she uses it. So no deal.
It's a roadblock, yeah.
Yeah.
Just use the Mate app. It'll work fine. Let me tell you.
But Colin, just exactly the reason why you bring that up is exactly the reason why I said before, where testing things out in a VirtualBox just doesn't cut it.
No.
It's okay to, look at something just to check it out. But until you install it, you are not going to find these issues that you're experiencing. You're just not.
Yeah, that's right. For sure. Yeah. Well, all the videos that I make is all on real hardware on this laptop here. So, you really get to know what works and what doesn't work. And, I think that's the best way to do it. So.
Well, let's put it this way. Like I said, I don't particularly like VirtualBox videos, but again, it's okay to check something out initially. But in order to do a review on it, you more or less have to install it.
Yeah.
And for a period of time, like we talked about before, not just a day and take it right back off. You got to run it for a good week or whatever.
Yeah, because there's some issues you're not going to run into right away.
Right.
Yeah, you got to live in it for a little while.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. If you run it for a week and you do your standard things and you install the things that you use, and you might be saving a document or just doing the general thing, you can find out things that don't work, whereas that you won't find out if you run it for a day or two because you just haven't come across the general things that you do normally. So,
That's true. I installed Ubuntu a couple weeks ago on my Toshiba. It's a full install. Doing the updates, it's still quite stable. I'm very surprised. I mean, it was slow back then. It's still kind of slow compared to, say, Plasma, but it does work. I haven't noticed any hiccups. It's just not as responsive as Mate. Mm-hmm. But the Ubuntu Gnome is getting better. It's just not as zippy as what I would like it to be, but it does work. Yeah.
Well, I don't think Gnome and zippy go together.
No.
I mean, I'm the first person to say I love Gnome, but I would never consider it zippy.
Yeah, that's why it's not my production machine, though. It's just, I like to, go, baby. Just, but it looks good. It looks polished. It runs. Make sure you have lots of RAM. If you have an older machine with a gig of RAM or two, probably not going to work very well. Yeah. But it seems stable, and I'm impressed. Yeah.
I was messing around with Ubuntu during the week. I just thought I'm just going to install a few extensions, which I haven't done, see what I can do with it. But as soon as you put the dash to panel, your indicators don't work. You're running
the extensions is the issue.
Yeah, your system tray icons don't work. So if you want to run Gnome, then you're best to run Ubuntu Gnome, not Ubuntu. You got to use Ubuntu as it is out of the box.
Yeah,
and that's it.
I tried to install 4 extensions, 2 didn't work. So it's a 50% hit rate. Those are not good odds. Yeah. But the 2 that I wanted to install is what I needed. So.
I think that's kind of fair to say, though. Like Ubuntu is the type of distro that's expected to use how they want you to use it. Same way the elementary is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're giving you the option to have the vanilla version so you can make it your own is good to have.
Yeah.
And Ubuntu, they're going to ship with extensions. They're going to keep those things up to date. They're not going to let their extensions break, so you don't have to worry about.
That's right. Oh.
A couple things that kind of
that's crazy. I saw a tux icon somewhere.
Don't start shaking off again. Should have 6 million.
I have a toss today icon.
I am ready to complain, guys. I'm ready.
Go ahead. Tell me. Talk to me, babe.
What's going on?
So like with the tweak tool in Ubuntu, it annoys me a little bit that you can't quite toggle the inbuilt extensions. Like it has no effect over them. I mean, you can install regular dash to dock and that will like override it, but it does annoy me that you can't manually toggle it. Because for me, I would rather have no system tray than one that doesn't quite work.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I'd want to go with no system tray, but I understand your point. So.
Yeah.
I would. No system tray sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can get the
Fedora for long enough.
There's your problem.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh my gosh.
You can get the system tray working in dash to panel. As soon as you change dash to panel, the system tray is working. No problem. As soon as you do a restart or a logout, it's not working.
That's weird.
That's no good, man.
It works for a brief time, but It's only because you haven't refreshed everything. That's all.
I kind of had that problem with Mate at one point, where some things were grabbing into like the notifications tray applet, and then others were grabbing into the indicators applet. And at some point, it was like they were conflicting in some way, shape, or form, because things like the Wi-Fi or the internet symbols, like those wouldn't appear there in either of them, whether they were both there, only one of them was there, or the other one was there. And so at some point, I just gave up with that. Like, little things like that drive me insane.
Yeah, that's why us schmucks dual boot when we have to use Windows 10.
Are you guys just like handing off co-hosting to each other?
Sure.
No, I always make certain people co-hosts.
Ah.
So they can help out with the.
I thought it was like hot
moderating. No. Because there needs to be more than one person handling it.
Yep. So
I've downloaded the new Ubuntu Budgie 18.04 beta 1. Haven't tried it yet. Haven't tried it yet.
It looks
tomorrow.
Good.
Yeah, maybe today. Tomorrow's working day for me tomorrow.
Oh, it is tomorrow for you.
Yeah. He's in the future.
It is tomorrow for me too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the future.
Yeah, well, we're going to be in the future soon because like we got to turn our clocks
forward. The clocks move ahead. I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Which brings up the question: you'll be starting an hour ahead next week. Is that right? So instead of 11:30 in the morning for me, it'll be 10:30. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So instead of 3:30, it's going to be 2:30.
Oh,
really?
That's right.
So.
I'm going to have to get used to not sleeping on a Saturday night. Then. There's no way I'm going to bed at 7 to get up at 2:30.
But Zeb, that's only gonna be like 2 weeks though, because you switched the same time, like 2 weeks later, right?
I think we've switched already, haven't we? I don't know. I just wait for the wife to shout up, change the clock.
There's the cue.
Or I wake up and look at my phone one day and go, oh, really? Is that the time? I should have been at work an hour ago.
Wow.
Exactly. It's so convenient, and it's the best idea that's ever been done for, the sake of productivity, right?
Absolutely.
Is it?
Flawless. Like
no, it's awful.
I'm not so sure about that.
When it was invented by a guy who wanted to study butterflies. That's it.
Well, that explains a lot.
That's all.
Yep.
I thought it started World War I.
Yeah, by a guy who wanted to study butterflies. Nothing to do with the war.
As he's being shot at.
No, he was just a research scientist.
Okay.
Absolutely worthless.
Okay.
The best part is that people like it's common to say that it was made for farmers, and all farmers hate it.
Yeah. Can I just say
we
it's
don't want to wake up
worthless?
at 1. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm so happy we don't have it here in Perth, Western Australia. We don't have daylight savings.
Arizona doesn't have it either.
We don't have it here either. It's
is that in the West? So is it in the West? You don't have it in the States?
No,
West, just Arizona, I think.
Just Arizona.
Wow.
Arizona's the only state that said no. It's great.
They do what they want. You know what I mean? Like everybody else. Nah, we're not going to do that. That's stupid.
Can you imagine
because it's too hot there to switch.
Yeah.
15 or 16 states dotted around the country. Your time zone thing would be in crisis. It's ridiculous.
It's too hot in Arizona to switch. When it reaches a certain temperature, all the clocks melt anyway. So but
we don't even look at the clock here. It's just whenever it cools down, it's time to go home.
So it's a body clock.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, look, so we've been talking about Ubuntu and Kubuntu and MX, but the best thing that you can do is to test these things, but then give them feedback on what you find, whether that's on the forums or even if you contact somebody, because all of these cycles that they're in right now, they're in a cycle where they're in the beta thing and they want to work out every problem they have now before it hits. So the more feedback they get, the more problems they can work out now. So
I would just tell Canonical, make it lighter.
Yeah.
if I had to pick one thing that's keeping me besides the extension, but I can live with a few extensions and not 10 of them. But
man, I can't do anything about that at all, because that's a GNOME thing. They can't do anything.
I mean,
well, I mean, when I try Plasma, it says 258 megabytes. Then I go to GNOME 1.3 gigs. That's a little bit of a difference, you know.
Yeah, but they can't do anything because the fact that they chose GNOME and they've made their bed and they have to lie in it.
Yeah,
I agree. GNOME is a semi truck anyway. It's going to be slow. So
they're not switching from GNOME unless they go back to Unity, but they're not doing that. So
I don't think they're going to switch from GNOME for at least 5 years.
That is their future of the Linux desktop is going to be their GNOME. So
a little scary.
Yeah. So it's kind of it's what's interesting is that GNOME his popularity has been around at a default. Like the distros provide it by default and people use it. But did it earn it or it just inherited?
I will never forget Linus Torvald's immortal words. GNOME 3 is unholy mess. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, but think about it now. Think about the uproar that GNOME made when they went to GNOME 3.
It was horrible. Yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, Michael, you said, did they earn it? Well, I mean, they went and switched, and they had so many people upset, and they're still as popular. Well, I don't know if they're as popular as they were, but they're still popular, a very popular distro. I don't know. I would think that they would. You would have to say that they did earn some of it.
There's a lot of
some of their ideas is to just constantly do things that are just contradictory to the usefulness that they have. Like,
oh yeah,
like
no question.
It's just weird that they continue to have that momentum. You know, because no matter what they do, it seems they're just keeping that momentum, even though they're doing things that, like, while they have certain ideas that are amazing, like the workflow, I think is fantastic, and then you had removing features for no apparent reason, even things that are incredibly vital, and like
the file manager completely neutered. They just
well they butchered the Nautilus in like 3.6.
Yeah,
and then
that's why Ubuntu kept the old one forever because of that.
Yeah, and then now when they finally got Nautilus to a point where it's actually useful again, they're removing the ability to have desktop icons from Nautilus for some reason. Like there's like it doesn't seem to matter. Like whatever they do, they're untouchable, it seems.
I think there's a silent majority out there who secretly don't like or hate GNOME but are afraid to say it. I think I set up a poll Tuesday. I looked right before I came on. Should Ubuntu have chosen Plasma over GNOME? I think it's about 70 comments. I counted. I think out of the 70, 7 or 8 did not agree, but the majority said they should have went either to Plasma or XFCE.
Yeah.
But the majority do not like, at least in that miniature poll of mine, for whatever reasons, it's too slow.
But that's not a good choice, GNOME or Plasma. That's like asking, you want to be shot or you want to be stabbed, you know?
Well, I think it was mentioned before, but no. Well, that's why they were free to choose whatever they. Some chose XFCE. You know, I mean, I wasn't making it the law.
They could write other things in. Huh?
Yeah, and they did. So, someone mentioned Budgie, I believe, and that's fine. That's fine. I mentioned Plasma because it has made strides. It's a lot faster.
You know, if Ubuntu wanted to make Ubuntu Mate their flagship edition, I'd have no problems with that.
Yeah,
I mean, that would make perfect sense.
Well, the thing is, XFCE do not do many updates over the years, and then all of a sudden they come along and take their desktop. Imagine the things they've removed from that took them many years to get in.
Well, imagine how many have dual monitor issues too.
Or actually, maybe they fix it all.
Right.
They could just fix everything that's wrong with XFCE.
Yeah. But I think Mate, when you really think about it, Mate would be an excellent choice because it can be very Windows-esque like if somebody wants to have that feeling, or it could be.
It wouldn't be a shock to a newbie, at least. It wouldn't be, what the heck is this? It wouldn't be quite as a stunner, as a shock. But
I think they'd have to change the defaults because I don't think there's really anything else out there other than Mate that does this right now.
But I think
bar weirdness.
I think Michael hit it on the head where they wanted the path of least resistance. They wanted something that they didn't have to do all of that work for. And GNOME is the farthest along as a desktop environment than any other one out there.
I disagree. I think Plasma is definitely the farthest.
Now I'm not talking Plasma. I'm talking Mate, XFCE, and area.
I mean,
there was other reasons why they didn't.
You're dependent on GNOME anyway.
Yeah, what I'm saying is there are other reasons why they didn't choose Plasma, in my opinion. But as far as
incorrect reasons,
Budgie, Budgie, XFCE, Mate. I don't think they chose those because of the fact that they weren't as far along technically as GNOME.
They didn't have high DPI. You know, like GNOME doesn't have high DPI. Exactly.
Also, I mean, Wayland's the new hotness, and there's kind of a problem if you have a monitor that is over 60 hertz. So.
No, well, I mean, Mate has support for Wayland, and they're constantly.
Yeah, but GNOME can't, like with Mutter, because it can't handle. And that's like.
Like there's a lot of interesting things, and I think the main confusion for me that they picked GNOME was they wanted to have less work to work on the DE, but the less work is guaranteed Plasma because you can just build widgets and you can customize it however you want. And their whole, we couldn't put the trash can on the panel because GNOME wouldn't let us. Like, yeah, that's, you could just you drag the icon onto the panel for Plasma, you're done. That's how much effort it is. Like the amount of effort for Plasma would be so little in comparison to the benefit.
Yeah. Well, it's hard because it's hard. It's because I have trouble moving my mouse with my hand to make it go to that, but no.
Exactly. If you have carpal tunnel, it's going to be hard to release.
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah.
But it was kind of funny because like canonical community people were like, at one point someone said the reason they chose GNOME was because they had so many GTK developers.
Yeah.
Well, you also had Qt developers because Unity 8 was based on Qt. All of those people were Qt developers. What? So the reason you can't use one thing is because you had these other people. Well, also had other people. Like,
don't you worry about everybody's used to using all the GTK apps, Rhythm Box and all the GNOME apps.
They were going to replace them all anyway. It didn't matter.
Yeah. Like, I think they flipped the coin, man. They just flipped a quarter. Heads, we want this. Tails says, okay, that's where it's at. It just,
Yeah, but there's some familiarity, though.
Just flipped a coin, I would respect that more than the ridiculous reason.
Fair enough. Okay.
Heads, it's GNOME. Tails, Unity goes.
But who's deciding what developers are cute?
Well, I'm sorry. Do what?
What developers are cute?
Oh, the developers themselves are cute. I guess that's. Yep, absolutely. But like, so it's just interesting because people have said like, well, when I made the that video for about using Plasma instead of GNOME, like within like the first week they announced it. Tuxedos.com, by the way. So I've had many comments, still do, of people commenting about, well, they already have GTK apps. There's Rhythm Box. There's like that stuff like that. And it's like, well, yes, but Unity 8 was already getting rid of all of that anyway, so it didn't matter. Like they weren't going to be losing the effort because they were already doing it.
There must be some commercial reasons too behind it. If I had to guess,
it could be the fact that Red Hat funds GNOME.
See.
And if they would just come out and say we wanted a backing of a big $1 billion company, okay, sure.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Let them do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, if they just but they're not doing all the heavy lifting. Who's building the high DPI support? Canonical.
Yeah.
Who's keeping the system tray? Canonical. It's like I think Red Hat and GNOME is doing the heavy lifting, and Canonical is doing the heavy fixing.
Yeah. They're patching the bugs.
That's a hell of a team. Okay.
Well, sure, but they don't agree with each other, obviously.
No, of course not.
That's why the impression I was getting. That's why I said sarcastically.
That's why Unity was created, is because Canonical had one vision and the GNOME team had something else going on. So
I didn't catch the sarcasm because
Well,
I'm reading that. Sorry.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Well,
Now you
Unity
know why
was
I stick with
unified.
XFCE because nothing changes; it just works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Except-
until you get Wayland and it crashes and obliterates.
And then who's going to use Wayland anyway? Wayland's never gonna come
Everyone.
out.
We're all. Didn't you?
No,
say-
we're not
years
all
time,
gonna-
we will
we're
be
not
saying,
all
when's
gonna-
Wayland
Zeb.
coming out?
The memo was like I sent the memo out to everybody. It's Wayland tomorrow. Everybody.
How long has Wayland been in development? Since 1937 or something? It's still not ready. I think
9, 10 years now. It's been a long time.
it's
Yeah.
Wayland is way in the future.
But
you
it's
know?
not their fault. It's NVIDIA's fault. So don't worry about it.
I mean,
We'll-
yeah, kind of.
We'll still be
Think
using
about it.
XOR 25 years from now.
Wayland. We're
Yeah.
like, we never gonna land. Ah.
Yeah,
Well, the
then you
problem is
call
that
it.
it's just I just don't like the fact that Wayland is just a protocol, and I know people like a lot of the engineer people would disagree with that, but
Didn't Ubuntu have
Export.
Mir or something?
it needs a compositor, and there is no compositor by default for Wayland. So like every DE has to make their own compositor.
And how long has Zorg been around? Like 25 years now or something?
I think it's like almost 30. Yeah.
It's longer than that. Yeah. It's
Jesus.
But it's just such a pain sometimes.
Well, I mean, it's fair. I mean, they're both pains. So,
Yeah. Fair.
yeah. But it's just kind of like there's a the fact that Mir is the most reasonable option for a compositor in Wayland is kind of ironic.
well, Canonical shipped devices that used Mir, so I mean there was that. So
Was it
phones.
better?
Mir's good. Mir's
Yeah.
actually good. Like if you ever tried it Ubuntu Touch, you're every time you use Ubuntu Touch, you're using Mir. So, like, it actually is pretty good, and the fact that they're like trying to convert it into a compositor for Wayland is interesting. I wish they kind of would have did that in the first place, just made a good compositor. But it is what
But
it
they
is.
didn't.
Very
Well,
confusing.
they were going to make their own compositor. They did make their compositor, but they also made a display server protocol as well. So like that's what Mir was intended to be. It was both. Whereas Wayland was just the protocol. And everybody revolted. How dare you make something that isn't ready anyway? Like what?
Boomer. Hey, buddy.
Homer, what's happening, brother? You got here early.
Your mic's not working either yet.
We're muted.
Pull the mic down. Pull the mic down.
Okay, he showed us his beer, but no.
Check the bottom left corner, see if you're muted there.
Well, his headset might have that feature that it mutes when it's up.
Mm.
Oh, does it?
Oh.
Well,
Yeah,
some
but-
will do.
Well, he had it up last
Interesting.
time. Almost.
I think it's because he needs to set his webcam like last time.
Yeah.
The mic.
Yeah, change your settings to the webcam. Yeah.
Forget Rock Band mic because they're fantastic. Just,
Yeah, Rock Band. Yeah. Mhm.
He'll get there eventually. He'll suddenly go,
We
yeah.
got you. We did.
There you go.
No, still nothing.
No, I heard him.
I hear him.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a little quiet, but I hear him.
Little quiet, yeah.
Take off the automatic settings within Zoom. That's normally the biggest pain.
Okay, no, it's better.
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you. Sorry.
It's all good.
This time I took my beer with me.
A beer microphone. Cool. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was drinking coffee last time, so what's he going to be drinking next week? Yeah.
He's got a bit of both. Coffee chaser. That's a bit strange. Yeah.
Yeah. Wake up in the morning, you know.
You got to remember
Michael-
it is the morning. He just woke up, right?
Yeah.
Michael, did I read something from you the other day that said the new Amarok is out already?
No, a new Amarok is out, yes, but not the new Frameworks 5 version. It's just
Oh, okay.
it's a bug fix for the existing kit.
Well, that's lame.
If you'd watched his video about 2.5 hours in, he talked about it.
Well, you know, I didn't have the
It was
5 hours to
maybe,
pinpoint
like,
everything.
An hour 45. I mean, thank you, sir.
So,
Okay, roughly.
maybe you should
I have
put
no idea.
Maybe you should put timestamps on it.
Michael.
I have no idea when I did it.
That was right
I
after
started on time, but my whole idea was being efficient with my time in the show. I did not work out.
That's funny.
But the Amarok's new version is just a bug fix for, like, mostly bug fixes and maintenance stuff. But it's nice that they, I don't know. I'm okay if it just died.
So everybody that switched to Clementine when they thought Amarok was dead, is there any reason to check out the new Amarok when it comes out, or just stay where you're at?
If you like Clementine, then no.
Stay where you are.
Yeah.
Clementine is a
Puppy
fork of
can.
1.4 Amarok, which 1.4 Amarok was very good. And
Don't use Amarok.
well, Amarok was they basically ruined what was good about Amarok. And Clementine tried to fork what was good and then tried to make their own ideas. And some of their ideas were not that good either, but for the most part, it's still the main base. So it's still a usable option.
I'll stick with Rhythm Box. It's stable and it works. So yeah.
Well, Clementine's a queued app, so when Canonical switches to Plasma, they can use Clementine, get rid of Rhythm Box.
It's totally what they should do. Or Cantata is a good option as well.
Yeah, but then you have to configure MPD. New users won't like that.
Well, so speaking of Kubuntu 1804, Cantata is the default music player, so you don't have to do configuring anything. It's just going to be there.
Oh, really? Oh,
yes, but is it going to be configured?
What's so special about Cantata?
MPD it uses the MPD daemon, music daemon. So,
and it really is a nice player, but the only reason that it wouldn't be a nice player, it's difficult to set up.
It sounds like a taco. Hey, you want a Cantata?
Ubuntu 1804, you just start the player and it just looked for the stuff you wanted to look because it has MPD automatically set up for you.
Well, that's the way it should be.
Yep.
What's MPD?
Music
player daemon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like a music server. Like
you're slipping, Michael. They said stable, and you didn't jump all over that. You did earlier today.
Well, people, because one of the people who was saying it in my stream, my chat, was trying to troll me.
Yeah.
I know, and I know he was trying to troll me because I've known him for years, and that's what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cantata is nice, but you got to make sure that like new users never have to configure that thing. If they have to open a text editor and start configuring it, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I mentioned it, just because Kubuntu made it.
Yeah,
just load it and you're good to go.
Is that something new that they set it up? I mean, I know
brand new from 1804. The beta 1 is the first version that they had it. They replaced they replaced Amarok with it. Actually, used to be Amarok.
Wow.
Yeah, but I could have swore that I tried the very first Kubuntu, whatever release it was, and it was on there, but it wasn't set up.
Yeah.
I use, what do I use?
was
Audacious, Banshee, Clementine, Lollipop. I love the name. I use that.
Dead Beef.
Box.
Dead Beef is the best.
Yeah,
Dead
I don't
Beef
use
is the best name.
God.
Yeah.
Dead Beef. Yeah.
Dead Beef is the best name for sure.
Oh, these names.
It's
Quote the bet.
What about Guayadec?
Yeah, what you said.
Guayadec is okay. Quote Lebet is better.
What's better?
Quote Lebet.
It's Quad Lebet. Show some class here.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's Quote Lebet. Because that's what I want to say it as.
It's Quad Lebet, Snapperhead.
It's Quad Lebet. I actually used to use Quad Lebet until I recently switched to a better player. Well, it's better because it's cute. That's basically the only reason. Quad Lebet was almost perfect, but every time if you added something to your music library and then you decided to remove it outside, like to keep it in your folder but remove it from the player, it would never remember that. So every time I loaded the application, it would just do it again. Like, oh, stop it.
Well, there's a lot of choices for media for Linux. So
yeah, you can just open a terminal and try to run CMUS and just
or
that's a really nice program.
or Mock MOC, and there's also now Tizonia, which is it's like streaming music on the terminal.
Tizonia. Isn't that a price in Australia? Oh, that's Tanzania.
So, being an i3 user, is that what Ryan would be using? One of those terminal-based?
Yes, I'm sure he used
music players.
There's actually one that just came out that I don't remember what it was, but
Where is Ryan?
It's like CMUS, but it's like much cleaner.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is.
Well, CMUS is interesting. If you've ever tried CMUS, I've got 130 gigs of music on a hard drive of my own, and it is amazing how it will load that entire 130 gigs in a playlist in like 5 seconds. I mean, it's crazy. And you do that in Rhythmbox, and you're waiting like 15 minutes. It's amazing, the speed difference.
I know Quode Lebet will handle big libraries very well. And so does Gmusic Browser, too.
Mm-hmm.
Although that hasn't been updated in I don't know how long.
So here's I would like to show you an application that by default. Let's just get your reactions. Everybody, go to Google and search for QMMP. Or DuckDuckGo if you care about your freedom.
We're all going to get a virus.
Yeah, watch.
I don't like freedom.
QMMP yellow.
That's a light one. I think I've looked at that before.
Oh yeah, I've seen this. That's the.
It's not bad.
Went out looking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the reactions is on the appearance. Is that a negative or positive?
It's kind of retro.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's just really old school.
If it's random, okay. If the Sufo works really well, it's okay.
Is this something you've written then, Michael?
No. This is what I use now. I switched to it completely.
I'm guessing it's super fast.
Oh no, the UI is awful. I hate it.
Oh.
It has a hidden UI that removes all of the negative aspects to it, and it doesn't tell you. But there's one screenshot I just randomly found that implies that it's there. So like if you go into the settings of it, you go to the plugin section, scroll all the way down. There's an option that says single window mode or something like that. And it just, or simple mode. And the simple mode turns it into a regular music player with like a regular player with a cute window and everything. Removes the Winamp approach and just, it's a regular player. And it is way better.
You've sold me. Is it in the repos? I'm going to install it right now.
It's in every distro. It's like when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, this thing again." And then I just randomly saw it screenshot. I was like,
everybody's frantically typing trying to install this thing.
It's a real player.
Yeah, installation rates going up.
All of our connections are interrupting from downloading it.
Oh, I got it already. It was in Arch.
When you first load it, it goes.
Yeah, it is.
Fix this.
Okay, so this is. Hold on. I will show you what it looks like.
Well, you show it like in the normal version, and then
this is what it
crashed on
like.
mine.
Right there is what it looks like for everybody to see.
Yeah.
Wow.
Little tiny thing.
Yeah, little tiny.
I can't get it to launch.
Windows.
It's not launching on mine.
No, it's working on.
I'm using Neon, so I just use the PPA.
So where'd you say this was? In the settings?
Yeah, go to settings.
Yep.
Then go to plugins.
Yep.
And scroll all the way down
to simple user interface.
There you go. Now switch to that. And then once you change it, it might not do anything. You might have to reload the application.
I was going to say, did that do nothing? Yeah.
You are correct. And now, this is what it looks like compared to the old school.
Yeah, like a normal player.
Yep.
But is it good at loading up large databases?
Matt, it's fantastic. I don't have 100 gigs, so I don't.
So let's just give it a stupid test. I'm just going to turn on some hard disks I've got at the back here, and then we'll see whether or not it's any good.
I tested it with 20 gigs, and it was immediate. However, you do have to create your own playlist yourself, so it's kind of like
But see, I was never, and that's why I really didn't get into Clementine. I was never a big playlist person.
Well, the thing you can just drag and drop it, and it'll just catch it. So if you just drag your music folder into the regular playlist, it just does the whole thing.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. Like, if I'm like, when I listen to music, I will want a certain genre of music. So if I'm in the mood for like whatever, Frank Sinatra, say, or classic music, I will play the classic music folder. I don't worry about playlists, and that's why I never got into playlist-based players like Clementine.
I'm the same. I just go to that artist and whatever. And
the way I do the playlist, it's just one playlist that's everything, and then just put it on shuffle mode and let it go.
Well, about 60 seconds ago, I started 130 gigs loading in it, so I'm still waiting. It's almost through though. Yeah, it's done. It took about a minute. That was pretty fast for 130 gigs of music. That's not bad. That's much better than, like I said, things like Rhythm Box. Rhythm Box takes all day.
Yeah, this one's like, it's super fast, but it's also like, it's got a lot of features, but most of the things that are good about it are turned off. I don't know why, but most of them are off.
They don't like fun.
Well, they don't like fun. That's right.
But so did you just drop and drag your folder in there?
Yeah.
Wait for it to load, yeah?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
That's all you do. I switched to it, and the defaults for QMMP are not good. The functionality of it and what it can be is fantastic.
Wait, why isn't it not letting me play my Google Music?
Where's the kick button?
That was actually instantaneous, like adding all the songs. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I haven't actually tried. It does support some servers, some services. Not really though, and it has like some like IceCast support, but it's mostly a local file player.
Right.
As they should be, Rocco.
As they should be.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
As they should be. But anyway, this is like one of those hidden gems.
So once you go back to the simple mode, how do you get back to the...
Why would you ever do that?
I like the Winamp look. Yeah. The Winamp look is cool.
Because there's no...
Go to edit settings and do the reverse.
You do the same thing. Yeah, it's in the settings.
Oh, okay.
You go back to these plugins and then you switch it to the why are you doing this Rocco mode?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the playlist show.
Yeah.
But it like QMMP is actually like a it doesn't get enough attention that it deserves because it deserves like a lot. Like there's a lot of cool things. There's also a lot of cool plugins that it has. I'm trying to convince this one plugin developer to make it support for like it only work. They made it for only Arch, and that's kind of disappointing. But like there's a lot of cool plugins that they have, and it's because it's based on like 90% plugins. Like it's very flexible.
So somebody could write a plugin to connect to Google Music.
Yes, they could. Absolutely, they totally could. I mean, I don't know
on that. Will you get on that?
Oh, me? Oh, no, definitely not.
Okay.
He doesn't have time with his 5-hour screencast, right?
No,
Exactly.
right? I don't know how he has time for anything.
Yeah.
I don't either. I actually got maybe 30% of the video edited too. So
what happens when you have to go to the bathroom during a 5-hour stream? I mean, do you just pause it or
you
just
don't
get up
do it.
and go? Yeah.
You just don't. You just the stream is more important than biological.
Exactly, Joe.
Right.
The stream is more important than the stream.
It's funny. This thing is like that big. It's this tiny little box on my screen.
Oh, yeah, it's ridiculously small. I had to zoom in Plasma so I could like see where the buttons were.
Yeah. It's that same way with is it Audacious that has that Winamp looking
Audacious is really small.
And it's
I like Audacious. It's fast.
Because all those Winamp themes were back when you were running like 640, or 800 by 600 monitors, and now with widescreen, it's just so tiny you can't see anything on them.
Yep. Like it's like there's a lot of skins and stuff for QMP.
Yeah.
But
does it
they're
take
all
Winamp?
stuff.
Yeah, Winamp themes are all compatible.
They're like, I don't know if they're all compatible, but it's very much compatible with, like, that's one of their purposes was to make it compatible, as well as XMMS.
MMS, yeah.
Yeah. They have support for those themes as well.
So why did they make it so microscopic then?
Because that's the Winamp way.
Yeah, that's the way it was in the 90s.
It really
It's
kicks
the
on.
original size.
Yeah.
Well, us old guys who can't see much, I mean, if you can't see with glasses on, something's wrong.
Like it's the Winamp was like that and like back in the day for XP and stuff. It was very small. But like but anyway, this is a good player. This is a player I've switched to, and after like there's a few things that bother me, but like overall I think it's fantastic. And I'm gonna do a video about it to like explain what could be better and where it's awesome.
When can we expect that video?
2017.
Okay, good.
I chose the past date. That way I'm always wrong, because any date I give you, I have no idea.
So as we go to the Winamp team, I can say, like, these days it's so easy to get multi-monitor system. You just don't need that much space on your desk. But back then it was like the monitor took huge amount of space in your desk. It was really annoying.
Yeah. I mean, I have 2 monitors now, so it takes up more space, but like I don't need to save space for a music player that I'm not going to have on my screen 99% of the time anyway.
Which is why we need system trays, and Gnome is wrong.
Well, what is impressive about this QMPP is it loads up the directories, it loads up the songs while it's still loading up the other songs in the background.
Yep.
You don't have to wait for it to finish.
Yeah.
It just continually presents you an ever-growing playlist.
Yep.
Well, look at that. Randy was right. If you go under View, you can hit double size, and it'll blow up the Winamp.
Yeah, that was a feature of Winamp as well, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Winamp thing.
But then it looks all sort of like blotchy and horrible.
Yeah, it's totally something that people should totally do if they don't. No, just use Simple. Never mind. Just use Simple. But like, there's a lot of cool things you can customize in it as well. Like, you can move around every panel in QMP because it's Qt based, so you can organize however you want it to be. It's really cool. So that's my tip of the day. But there's like, the only thing I don't like is the cover manager is basically pointless. It's just like a pop-up separate window thing. Other than that,
the only thing I don't like about it is not respecting my GTK2 theme, so I got to go back to Dead Beef. But
well, why would it? It shouldn't do anything. Like,
right? Exactly.
Yeah, like in Plasma, it doesn't respect like the global menu or anything like that. But if you switch to the simple interface, it does. So.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the regular Winamp style.
You've got the global menu working
in Plasma, yeah.
Okay. How's that going for you?
I love it. I didn't think I would before, but running Gnome for so long, I got used to it. So
what? I think Zeb loves global menus, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
He loves them.
Hang on, let me just move my mouse to the top left-hand corner. Hang on, we're getting there. Okay, now we're there. It's just ridiculous.
Zeb, that's not right. That's totally not right. It's not that far, Zeb.
No, trust me, it is that far, yeah?
It is on a 43-inch screen. You better believe it.
That's why you need a monitor that's why you need a mouse that can handle that resolution.
There's a normal 19-inch, 24-inch monitor next to my big monitor. So that's why I hate global menus.
That's awesome, dude.
Which 43 is that, Zeb? What manufacturer?
Philips. It's a Philips 43-inch.
You know what you need to do now?
Is it a monitor or a TV?
No, that's a monitor, a proper monitor.
You need to get 2 more of those and have them on the side there, like completely surrounding you.
Well, unfortunately, the desk isn't big enough.
No,
Is that the only thing stopping him?
It looks like the Star Trek bridge over there, man. Where's the photon torpedoes? Where do you launch those from, man?
And of course, that's the one I do when I'm at work. I use the
okay.
35-inch widescreen.
All you got to do is raise your resolution on your mouse, and you'll be fine, Zeb. I can go from, on a 32-inch monitor, I can go from my bottom right corner to my top left corner by moving my hand like this. I don't even have
but then
to move
if you're doing that and you hit a bit on the desktop, you end up on next door's monitor.
You'll get used to it.
It's just too quick. You've only got to rest your hand on the mouse and you've lost it. It's gone.
You got to push it with like some tweezers, just kind of.
Yeah, I mean, no, seriously, you really got to move it slow. But in that case, when you want to go from a far distance, you can do it.
I think Zeb is thinking, forget about it, right, Zeb?
No, I'm trying it now because, as you know, I've got the G500 and you've got that automatic change the DPI, and it's just too twitchy. So,
well, Rocco, do you game with like a really high sensitivity for like aiming and stuff, or a really low sensitivity?
Well, I game with I think it's 3200 DPI, but I have the switch on it so that if I need it to be like, I switch it down to like 1600 or 800 when I need it to be that way.
Because I can't stand when it's like super slow. I see people like dragging their mouse across the mat, and it actually just watching it makes me want to cry.
Yep. Well, I tried to play, like this mouse that I have has all of the resolutions, and it has like 5 different settings that you can set it to. And I tried to play with it on a lower DPI, but it was like when you're playing an FPS game and you want to do like a 180, you're like throwing your mouse across the whole mouse pad trying to do this 180. It's like
you're getting shot at. Hey,
yeah,
what's going on over there?
Yeah, like wow, oh wait, I'm dead already. Like
you on your new Zowie?
No, the Zowies went back, dude. The Zowies went back.
Oh, okay.
So, but nobody knows that, so don't tell anybody, okay?
Yeah, that'll spoil it all. Yeah,
it will. So I actually got a Razer mouse here, so it's working pretty good.
Hopefully they get support up for that soon with the open Razer stuff.
That would be so awesome. But
yes, because RGB lights are the most important thing about a mouse.
No, but the one good thing about this specific one is it has the onboard memory, just like the Logitech G502. So once I set it with the settings, it just picks it up in Linux. So if I'm in Windows and did I say that? If I'm in Windows and I set the settings, it holds on to the settings even in Linux.
Yeah, my mouse does that as well. The Razer
yeah,
mouse.
but you don't have the luxury of being in Windows anymore. You have to get a hardware that's compatible, I guess.
Well, with the Open Razer project, it has compatibility for most of the Razer mice. This just happens to be one of the newer mice that it doesn't support yet, but it will.
Mine remembers mine is all the settings as well because it doesn't do anything.
Simple. Yep. I like it. It's a mate mouse. Simple.
No, it's a plasma mouse. It's simple by default, powerful when needed.
Oh. No, it's not powerful at all.
Okay.
No.
Bang zoom.
That's
it's more like JWM. So I'd go with it. Like it's functional. It gets the job done. That's where it ends.
That's what I have. I got a simple mouse. Yeah.
But what's the Gnome mouse?
Yeah, but when you're playing like Rocket League and that's all, then that's all you really need. Like you're not doing those super fancy tricks with Rocket League,
Well, that's why I have like a $300 mouse so I can play Minecraft at ultra high speed.
Yeah, because you surely need to flip around a 180 with Minecraft, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So does this mean it's like Gnome mouse?
Yeah.
Which Logitech is that?
402, I think, for it.
Yeah, that's a nice mouse.
G402.
I got a 602 and mine doesn't have a light on it anymore. So
I wish mine had a light. Well, mine does have a light, but only when the battery's dying.
The light's lame. I mean, because you put your hand over it and you don't see it. I mean, like it's lame. It's just
the only light this has is when you're switching the settings here.
Yeah.
This gives you depending on the battery life. This will actually determine whether you run double the battery life or not. That's about all that's supposed to do. And half the time I never touch it. This is actually the way with the 2 batteries in it. You can pull one battery out and it'll still run.
Well, the Razor has a fancy light, but you put your palm over that, and then it has the scroll wheel light. It's worthless. So
it gives you that warm and fuzzy feeling, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
So what they should have made is a combination mouse hand warmer for the winter time. Now that would be cool. See,
air conditioner for the summer. Right?
There you go. See, a little fan to cool you down. See, come on, developers. Let's get the program. But yeah, it's that would work.
Hey, one of them, I think it was a SteelSeries mice, have a haptic feedback in the mouse, right where your thumb is. So like when you can set it to certain things where if you get shot or if you're low on ammo or whatever, it'll just like buzz. I mean, really?
That's the gamer way.
Kind of like Xbox controller when you get hit, it vibrates.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Bringing it to the PC.
I set my Xbox controller up with the Dolphin emulator. So when I'm playing that Mario Kart on there and I get hit or something, it doesn't just like rumble or vibrate. It actually just shakes violently for about 15 seconds. And I haven't changed it yet. It's lovely.
Oh, man.
Good thing this show is family friendly, or I'd have an answer for that.
Yeah. Good thing, huh?
As long as my mouse moves and clicks, I'm happy.
Same here, man.
Better get yourself one of those Apple mice.
Well, okay, so the one thing I will say that I miss about the Logitech mouse is the infinite scroll wheel.
Oh yeah.
So when you click the scroll, there's a button right behind it. So when you click that, it goes from a clicky scroll wheel to a zip scroll wheel. Yep. And you can just sit there and spin, and so that is awesome for web browsing.
Great, a combination mouse fidget wheel. Great, yeah.
Well, remember you were talking about him putting like the air compressor up to the little wheel and stuff. You guys should also like tie a string to like one end of it and like shoot it from like a compound bow or something and see how fast it like flies off.
It's like gun roulette.
No, it was pretty awesome because my dad has the same mouse. And he took the mouse out to the garage, and he took his air compressor, and he said, "Look at this!" Zzz, and he blew the air compressor into the wheel of the Logitech mouse in the infinite scroll wheel, and it was just zinging, zzz, like a lawnmower, dude. I never seen a wheel go that fast in my entire life. And all of a sudden, you hear this ding, and something snapped inside, and we started busting out laughing. It was hilarious. I guess we shouldn't do that to that mouse. Huh?
So you were trying to use it as a generator, huh?
It was hilarious. I mean, it really wasn't hilarious at the time because that was his main mouse. But after it was pretty hilarious. But this Razor has a roll wheel on the bottom of it to tighten or loosen the scroll wheel sensitivity, so you can go from a really clicky to a completely loose scroll wheel, except for it's not like a zip scroll wheel like the Logitech, so you can't just sit there and spin it.
I can't believe how sophisticated these mice have gone over there. Jeez.
Yep.
Well, I've got the solution for every gamer right here. It's just like it's a keyboard, right? But it's got like it's got a trackpad on it.
Oh my gosh, you don't use a trackpad, do you?
Oh yeah. Oh, totally. No, I'm just joking. I hate trackpads, but like I can stand.
Trackpads are great for Minecraft.
You know what? Actually, like they're horrible. But my girlfriend somehow manages to do that. I even gave her a mouse, and she still uses the trackpad.
Some people you just can't reach.
Those trackpads are good though for an HD PC. You're sitting on a couch and you just no place to put it.
Yeah.
I agree. Those keyboards are really nice. They're really convenient in some cases.
Chip, this is Linux world, man. We can make up whatever words we want. And yes, I just made up clicky.
Clicky.
Yep. I think it's a very valid usage of that word.
I thought it was very, very, whatever.
It's very clicktastic.
Yes.
And just for the record, QMMP is still loading the music directory, so it's incredibly It's good. I've never had one that's been able to load up this many songs before.
Have you tried the elementary OS music player?
No.
It'll crash horribly.
He's saying you don't want that noise.
Yeah.
By the way, Rocco, I finally switched over to Docky, which so far seems to be working very well. We'll see. Time will tell. Because the one thing about Plank, and I don't know what its hiccup was, but every so often it would get real choppy, and I'd have to shut it off and reload it, and it was fine. So this seems to be working a lot better.
Plank was always very stable, but in the last, I would say, 6 months, I just had some issues that I didn't ever experience before, and including when I was running Ubuntu Mate with the panel showing up as an actual icon that you could minimize the panel, which was
that drove me crazy.
Way weird. But I installed Docky, and I didn't have one issue that I had with Plank. So
did you have any choppiness about it too, though? Where it reset?
Yeah.
Pretty weird. I'm pretty sure Docky makes Plank.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Isn't Docky supposed to be a little more polished version of Plank or something like that, or is it the other way around?
It was the other way around.
Yeah,
Docky
Plank
was
is supposed
first.
to be the more minimal version, more minimal, simple but solid version of Docky.
I like Cairo Dock if I had to pick a dock.
Yeah, because it does the fireworks and all.
Yeah, man. You got a freaking problem with that, man?
I just create another XFC panel.
I just created another Latte dock.
Yep.
Native panels are the best.
Started on Latte.
I'm sorry you had trouble with it.
The best.
Wait, Michael, did you try the newest version of the master branch of the Latte dock? The one that's not out yet.
No, definitely not.
I did, and guess what it has? It has like the same thing of Elementary is going to have with the changing of the
translucent stuff.
Translucent, changing from the colors from the background. It will have that in it.
Nice.
And yet it still doesn't behave like a dock.
It behaves perfectly like a dock. That's exactly what I use it for. I told you can remove that.
It doesn't actually work.
It does.
That's because you're using Elementary.
Precedence over an actual existing task manager.
What do you mean? I have every single aspect of my Latte docs are completely custom with nothing default.
So
Dog's Bark.
The way I set mine up is with like the KDE panel up at the top. I have the plasma menu, and then
it should be up at the top.
As it should be. And then I've got the task manager right there. Then I've got the system tray over to the right. And the dock is only for windows that are pinned to it. And when you open them up, show like that window is open, but they shouldn't show windows that aren't pinned to the dock because the task manager shows them. But if you like say remove the task manager from Latte, you can't use like the icons only task manager because that still shows unpinned windows. And as a dock, unlike something like Plank or Docky, it doesn't actually have the ability not to show unpinned windows. You can put launchers on there, you can put widgets on there, but you can't actually make it only work with pinned stuff, which is like a basic dock feature.
That sounds complicated.
It sounds like you're being too nitpicky. That's all I'm hearing.
I was trying to be polite, but yeah.
I'm wondering why we have panels and docks. Choose one or the other.
I mean, honestly, I don't do that. What you're saying, I have a dock. My left side dock is my task manager, and I don't have anything in the top. I mean, I do have stuff in the top, but I don't have a task manager at the top.
I removed the task manager.
With it. Rocco helped me out. We did have some weird like things where like we were using the same version, but things didn't work like quite the same. But it did end up working in the end, just in a different way.
When
I got comfortable with it,
he didn't have the remove button or the close button for the system tray part on Latte Dock. You know how you open the settings and you can like remove any of the applets. Well, he didn't have a close button. It was weird, and I was running the same version, and I had the close button, and I showed him, and he showed me, and it was still weird.
Were you on different like aspects of Plasma? Because I know
we were using Neon.
Yeah, it was the same version of Plasma and the same version of Latte Dock.
We've been
better framework.
I was just as confused as you were.
Must be hardware then.
I
The
don't
only
know.
difference can be hardware, isn't it? That can be the only difference.
Maybe
Really.
the elementary gods were trying to get me to come over earlier.
And you did.
Yep, they got to me.
I just had a thought. What if you accidentally delete your only panel? Now you have no panels. Now what do you do?
There's a way to like you can like right click and like add.
Yeah, in
panel.
Plasma, you can just right click add panel.
Can you still leave if there's no panel there at all? Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah,
I think
You can right click desktop. There's always an add panel option if you want it.
Yeah, because not that Latte Dock ever crashes. I mean, once in a great while.
Never.
But if it would ever happen, you can just, start typing and open Latte Dock again.
Yeah, because you get
There's
K-Runner.
one thing I hate about Latte.
K-Runner.
You know when you
Yeah,
open up the
Moxie
settings.
has a launcher. Right click add launcher, but I don't see anything for adding the panel back if you were to lose it.
Are your widgets locked?
Yeah, you gotta unlock the widgets to do that.
That was a weird.
This is what's so confusing about KDE. It's just too many levels of complexity and too many levels of, configuration.
Yeah,
just
Rocco.
too confusing for a lot of people.
So, okay, let me defend that by saying you're right.
Look, there's a ton of things you can do with KDE, but you have to be okay with having a ton of settings.
The moral of the story is read the manual.
Look,
No,
you
the
could
moral of the
drive,
story is
RTFM.
Plasma fixes stuff.
you could
just
drive a
fix it.
car or you could pilot a 747. Your choice.
Whoa,
I'll take the
this
car.
This
My brother
car
does
is
the
just-
747.
Oh,
Plasma's like a McLaren F1.
well, I got the
Okay.
bicycle.
Incredibly
with
powerful
Mate.
by default. Not that good.
They're very
I-
crashy too.
I reckon Budgie Desktop is a very, very good in between because it has a lot of tweaks that you can do. But I've noticed when I'm setting up Plasma, it's very finicky trying to grab spaces and things pop up, and before you go to click it, it pops away. It moves away again when you're trying to close certain apps on the panel and all that. But
Yeah, I completely dismissed the panels entirely and used Latte Dock exclusively.
Yes, I do as well.
I don't
Well, I
like
had-
the panels. The panels were great 10 years ago. They need
Right.
to go away.
I
Replace.
had problems running the KDE Plasma desktop with the icons only taskbar. It didn't play nice. Sometimes it would just do funky things. Depending on what programs you open, the wrong icon would be showing in the taskbar.
You just
I-
encapsulated KDE, dude.
Yeah. so
It just sometimes went goofy.
sometimes things just go all wonky and you have no idea why. So
That just happens. You got to expect
Yeah.
that in KDE.
Did you report a bug?
oh yeah, I did.
Yeah. No, but I have Latte Dock. Both of my I removed the panels and I have one Latte Dock on the left acting like a Gnome panel, like a Gnome dash to dock, and then my panel up top, which looks exactly like Gnomes.
Do you have your workspace on the right dock?
You cut out, Michael.
Yeah.
Do you have a right side dock that has like workspaces?
No, only because I don't use more than one.
Oh, okay. Well, I went that far. It basically looks like Gnome, but on Plasma.
I'll have to
Yeah.
try Latte Dock again because the last time I tried it didn't work. I don't know if I installed the wrong one or what. It just didn't work, so I haven't tried it.
Latte Dock is a situation where some ways you get it, it's perfect, and other ways you get it, it's not the latest version and it breaks. And in some ways you get it, it's called Now Dock and it's completely wrong and deprecated.
Yeah,
because they used to be called Now Dock and then they rebranded it.
And I don't like the way they do their sound, like their sound things. It's really complicated. Their sound.
Oh, phone on.
The drop down from the sound widget on the top there. They're just I don't know. I don't like the way it handles sound. It confuses me. I don't
Well, it
know
has
why.
devices and it has application sound. What's the problem?
But it has like it has devices and applications, but then it's got headphones, speakers, I don't know what the problem is.
I don't have either one of those.
I think I'm the problem. To be
No,
honest.
I mean, what you're saying is like that's the with plasma. If you don't have support for something, it just doesn't show it. So like someone could say, I'm seeing this one thing, or like, well, I can't see it because I don't have that device to see it.
Yeah.
Like you can't, as someone who doesn't have a touchpad, I have never used a touchpad for plasma. So the settings in touchpad, I have no idea. So like,
exactly.
Someone has a problem with it. Like, and it'll show like in that, for example, it'll show it the existence and then it says, oh, it's grayed out. You can't use it. You're not allowed to see what you can do. Like,
Right.
Okay. Thanks.
Well,
So why
the
show
problem
it in the first place?
Yeah, well, the problem for me in plasma is I have too many sound devices, so I have to actually go in and shut off the ones that I don't use. Like each monitor has a set of speakers, so I got to go in and shut that off so that they don't show up in the drop-down menu because they're a pain. Why would I want them there if I'm never going to use them?
I think that's what I'm talking about. They're all showing, and normally it just shows the ones you're using, isn't it? Or
yeah, well, if you right-click on the volume and go into the audio settings, you can disable some of them, Colin, so you don't see them in the drop-down menu.
Right.
Is that done in you can do that in Pulse Audio? Is that where you do that?
The Pulse Audio is used by the audio settings of system settings.
Okay.
So like the way Plasma's audio system is interesting because it's like Pulse, it's phone on that integrates with Pulse, which integrates with ALSA.
You can just change to VGA cable.
So it's based on a base on a base. Is it a bit like Linux Mint? It's based on a base.
No, because they're all integrated together. Pulse by itself is based on ALSA. Like you can't use Pulse without ALSA.
Why is there no level meter in the Kubuntu Audio Manager? I haven't noticed any level meters. It's just there's a slider, but there's no level meter unless it's still in beta. But I haven't seen it.
What do you mean?
That's not to adjust your mic. Sound meter.
Yeah, they're all there.
I mean, the sliders are there. What do you mean?
Yeah. The sliders, but not an actual meter. You know what I mean? So when you talk, it shows.
So you don't hear. Oh, you don't see the actual.
I'm not seeing the actual. You know what I mean? Right. It should be there. And it's not. And it's like, well, that's kind of silly, stupid.
I hear Mac OS.
I remember something like that until I just installed the Pabu controller and then it started to work.
It's not. It's. I don't know. So you have to. Yeah. So you have to kind of guess what level to set your mic at. You know what I mean? So why isn't that a standard? I mean, it's 2018. Come on.
Okay. Which DE does that though?
Mac OS.
I think Mate does that, don't they?
I've not seen any of them do it. So if there is one, I'd really want to see it.
For example, I go in the sound settings of Mate and the meters there. Input level meters, right? Like me talking, it'll show how far the
yeah, that's what I thought. I thought Mate did it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sure.
MX does it as well.
Yeah. In fact, a lot of them do it except Kubuntu.
Yeah, you open up the meter and I can actually see that it's flickering and moving and working out.
And you need that to adjust your mic. I mean, you can guess, but I'm like...
Yeah, exactly, Chicken. Just like OBS.
I do it in OBS. I've never bothered because I always have everything at maximum and I just control it in the application.
Yeah. No,
that's probably not efficient. But,
no, I adjust my meters first in Mate, and then I'll go into OBS or whatever, simple screen recorder or whatever. But I always started with the OS first in terms of my settings. But
well,
it's not,
Mike in the chat said that KDE mentioned the Windows 7 volume control, and that is a widget that you can add, and it makes it look and act like Windows 7 sound settings. So
really?
If you're not familiar with like the plasma settings, and Colin, you may want to try that too.
As long as it works.
It's a widget that makes it look that way.
Hey, Windows to the rescue. Yeah, baby. No.
Well, the guy that makes that is the same guy that makes the tiled menu and makes the event calendar. And
then it's very good.
Oh, it's very good.
I haven't even tried it. I know it's good. And that's what he also makes.
Yeah, and he also makes a show desktop thing that looks like the Windows 7, where it's just one thin bar.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's out of the way and everything. Some of the widgets he makes is awesome.
Nice.
Hey, Steve.
Good morning, everybody. How
What's
are we
up?
doing?
What's up, Stevie boy? Hey.
Hey,
DB, what's going on, man?
Love it. Well, I'd just like to say, hey, Rocco, wonderful to see you. Zeb, fantastic to see you. Joe, you're an absolute gentleman. Love you to bits. DistroTube, lovely to see you, dude. Finally, regarding Toss and Michael, well, I was listening to a 4-hour podcast while cleaning out the paddy trunk. But nevertheless, look, I just thought I'd hop in and say hi to everybody.
Hello.
So you missed an hour of it.
You missed an hour. It went 5 hours this week, Evie.
Wow.
Wow.
I did an hour with Switch, and I thought, okay, that's probably enough for this one. You know.
I blame that cartridge jet spray. It did a great job on the caddy trunk. That's all I'd like to say. 4 hours and that was it.
Look at all you people doing videos.
Well,
like
it's funny. I can't believe that many people stick around for that, man. For your show, that long. Yeah.
How long? I mean, there's at least like 30 people that are there the most of the time.
Yeah.
That's because they're all napping. They fall.
Well, after I got done, after it was like 3 hours in or 3.5 hours in, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream because I need to. Then 5 hours happened. Like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
You hit the twilight zone, and it's like, oh, it's 5 hours. Yeah.
Well, someone made it. Someone made a comment that I went on a tangent. I was like, oh, let's talk about that, and then it happened.
No, it's easy to lose track sometimes if I'll do a live and a lot of people jump on. Okay, I think it's time to end, and it's like an hour later because people still commenting, and you want to be polite and reply. You know,
I don't want to be polite. As soon as the stream's ready to go, I just tell last word. That's it.
Well, we're I mean, we're a bunch of schmucks here. That's why you can do what you want.
Chicken.
I think you should have Toss on the stream off cam. So that you know when you get them juicy questions, well, really, Michael, blah, 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 you've said this. And then you could have Toss coming in the back. What's the matter with you? You're getting fresh? What's the matter with you? Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Chicken, are you not putting out videos anymore, or is the bell not working?
Okay, so, like, here's the thing. I kept doing stuff. I've been super busy lately, and I've had... Even when I have free time, I've just been like, maybe I should record a video, but then I don't.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
He's too busy playing with elementary, aren't you?
Yeah, it's so captivating.
Yeah, but there's so many things you could be doing.
I had plans. I just ignored them.
Hey, I still have a KD Neon video and two other ones sitting on the hard drive. I made them 2 weeks ago and just haven't tried to edit them or anything. So.
Get them up before the next version's out, because then.
Well, that's what I mean. It's old news now.
You could just do a retrospective on KDE Neon too, you know. But
I had like a lot of prep work for like explaining Spectre and Meltdown, and then like it's been 2 months since that, a lot more than 2 months. I was like, meh.
They've been patched for so long. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Like once you miss the window, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I've missed the window on these, so they're not going up.
So, may I just ask what distro is everybody on this week?
Would be
Man, he knows us, doesn't he?
I would be delighted to tell you.
I'd be delighted.
Well, we all know what you're on, Chicken.
I know, but I gotta tell people.
Well, go ahead. Tell us.
Elementary OS, the best OS.
Wow, one is on the elementary, dear boy. Fabulous.
It's elementary, my dear distro.
Indeed. What? Or as one would say, one must endeavour to attain on one's elementary. What? Yeah, I'd go for a beer with that guy. Yeah, really? Right.
I'm still on Manjaro, but I've been on Manjaro for about 2 months. I'm ready to move on to something else here on my main machine. I'm not sure where I'm going to go, though.
XFCE?
No, probably LXDE if I do a full desktop environment. Maybe Mate. I like Mate. But I'm not sure what distro I want to go with.
Arch or Debian?
Have you tried?
I'll probably go back to being Debian based for a while. I like Debian. I mean, I've lived in Arch here for a couple months, but I really prefer stable distros.
Try Ubuntu.
Have you tried? Have you tried Manjaro LXDE? I know it stopped being maintained. Maybe have a look at Manjaro LXQ.
Yeah, that might. I like the LXQ desktop. I might check that out.
Ubuntu is maintained with LXDE.
Simon's listening now. You got his attention.
Yeah.
He heard the magic words.
If I do Ubuntu, though, I'm going to wait for the 1804 release.
Fair.
Yeah,
Fair.
it's a good shout. And anybody, I keep hearing lots and lots of feedback from people about how good Ubuntu Budgie is. Any interest on Ubuntu Budgie?
Yeah, I've used it.
Budgie is meant to play with Solus. It's just awesome.
No, I like Budgie. I like Ubuntu Budgie because it provides like a faux Solus, but still has the packages for Ubuntu.
That's a great shout, Michael. Faux Solus. But I'm surprised more and more people don't just load up Solus with Budgie on.
Solus is fantastic.
I don't get what the big furore about Ubuntu Budgie is.
There's a lot of people who are looking for applications that don't exist in Solus.
In Solus, yeah, okay.
It's
So, like,
the
that's-
repos.
Yeah, that's the only reason I don't. Well, Plasma is also another reason, but
So Solus without the apps is soulless.
Well, they have a quite good selection of those snapbacks, I think.
yeah, there are. It's weird because there's like Solus is in like an interesting situation where there's a lot of packages they have that are like, and they're willing to package more. It's just they're in a situation where there's some types of proprietary, like third-party applications that are really hard for them to get that don't currently have snaps. So like
Zoom.
Yeah, it's in this weird, complicated area right there.
Interesting. And Rocco, which distro are you on this week?
KDE Neon.
Cool, still on the KDE. So you're loving the old Neon. It's a good distro, actually. Very good distro.
It's one of those things, man, that you got that always with KDE. You have the love-hate relationship where you love some things about it, and there's just some things that drive you insane. So it depends on how long. Yeah, sure. You know. As long,
I think that's why I love Mate, because I can't say there's anything in it that just drives me insane. Like, why are they doing that, or why isn't? And I think that's why I've stuck with Mate. It's so simple that I can't say, gee, I wish they would have done that, or why is that? Why is there no level meter, or why is that? I can't say that with Mate, and I think that's why I'm stuck with it. It just works.
There's nothing in it that leaves you scratching your head.
Right. It's
Well, there is one or two things about Mate that leaves me scratching my head.
There's 4 pixels off.
Yeah,
sometimes.
there are some pixels off in like certain icons and.
Oh well, looks and theming. I don't get in. I'm talking about functionality. Functionality. Yeah.
I don't even worry about themes and icons.
Yeah, but wait.
I see a pixel off there.
No, but wait now. If
so
you're
beast.
running your system and every icon is the same, and then you install, say, I don't know, Spider Oak, and the icon is so big that it can't even see, like, you can only see the top part of it, and it's like this big, much bigger than all the other icons. It's kind of like
so now we're talking functionality, not just the look of it.
Yeah,
that's
The app, like the panel or like the widget should like automatically make it a certain size.
Yes, I agree.
I haven't come across
like Elementary OS does.
Like Elementary OS does, but it doesn't. So
there's also like
bit of a milestone week for me in terms of distros, all thanks to that gorgeous looking gentleman top right in the dark top with the little dartboard and also the logo. And whilst doing a bit of trucking this week, old Zebby boy there, bless him, he's been on the Calculate. And in terms of trucking, and I want to highlight this, in terms of trucking, Zeb's comment was, Calculate Linux ain't all that. Am I right, Zeb?
Yeah, I did say that. I mean, you spend all this time getting it up and running and configured, and it isn't Gen 2. Although it's based upon Gen 2, it's still got the normal packages. You spend all that time getting it up and running and configured. Really?
It weren't all that.
What's so brilliant about it?
Well,
so are you saying that Calculate Linux is not part of your preferred equation?
Well, Calculate is 100% compatible with Gen 2. I mean,
Is that Michael spooning the faux English out again? Really?
You're right, DistroTube. It is 100% Gentoo compatible.
Steve, it's a
but
meme.
You don't have to go around compiling everything. It's all in the repos.
Yeah, but you can if you want to. That's
if you want. Yeah, but why?
Yeah, if you want to treat it like Gentoo, it's possible.
Yeah, but why would you want to? Why would you want to spend 6 hours compiling Clementine? When I can install it in 30 seconds.
I have to say, I think Zeb is one of the few shining lights in this area, because the thing I love about Zeb doing all these different distros with his trucking is Zeb tells it like it is from a user, which is a great perspective rather than being a blinded Linux fanboy. Zeb will do all this and then say, well, ain't all that. And
so here's why Gentoo is fantastic.
He's right.
So speaking of calculate, Zeb.
Yeah, the other thing I don't like about calculate is for some reason ATS doesn't run properly without running some weird obscure command in the terminal beforehand. Every other Steam game works, but ETS and ATS don't, and it's something to do with exporting the paths. So I've just got it in memory now, so you go up, click that, type Steam, and away you go, and it's fine. But there's no performance gain. It doesn't open up 10 times quicker than Peppermint. You click on Mozilla and it still takes 2 or 3 seconds to open. I don't see the point in the pain, to be honest with you.
Get 3 more FPS.
You actually get less on Calculate.
You would think with a name like Calculate Linux, it would be such a precise distro. Everything would work perfectly because 2 plus 2 equals 4. But not.
Zeb has a point here about some of the speed differences. Like on boot up time, Calculate takes forever to boot up sometimes, and they're not on System D. They're still doing. What is it? OpenRC or whatever.
Is it OpenRC? Is it?
Shouldn't it be faster at that point? Really?
Well, that's really not even that's a Gentoo thing. Like Gentoo doesn't have System D.
But like Sabian is a Gentoo based distro. They do System D, and that thing boots up in like 5 seconds. And Calculate, you wait almost.
You can technically do System D in Gentoo if you want to. It's just
miscalculated.
Most Gentoo users don't.
On principle, they're kind of anti-System D,
Yeah, but none of them give me a reason why, though.
So Derek, you've run Gentoo before.
Yeah. Well, I've run some Gentoo-based distros. I've never run mainline Gentoo on any of my physical machines.
So is what Zeb's saying that,
it's not all that. He's right. Yeah. When you install something like Gentoo and then install Ubuntu side by side, it's the same. I mean, there is no speed difference. I don't care what the Arch Linux fanboys tell you about Arch. It's the same thing. They all do the same thing.
I agree with what you said, Zeb. I can't remember where. I think I might have read it on Telegram or something. But you did say that all the hardware these days is so up to speed.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
It doesn't really matter anymore, and I totally agree with that, because 10 years ago, like you said, it would have really mattered, because you could have installed and compiled everything to suit your hardware. But yeah, I don't think it matters these days, to be honest.
There is still a difference. Like I've used Gentoo in the past, and there absolutely still is a difference.
If you compile it to your specific hardware,
yes. There is a difference. You compile it like the kernel, you compile the browser, you compile everything to your hardware. It will be a difference.
I'd have to say for pure speed, LXLE or Peppermint.
Surely, if you want the same thing but in the baby steps, then just use Arch.
Well, I mean, it's not the same thing because it's not going to be compiled to your hardware.
But even a pure Arch install.
Yeah, because Arch is a binary system, a binary distro anyway, so that you're not going to get the benefit that Gentoo would provide anyway, because it's not going to be compiled to your hardware.
Speed hit over Ubuntu, because you're still compiling the apps on your computer. All right, not dedicated to your specific piece of hardware, but you're still compiling the app on your machine rather than just pulling a generic pre-compiled package down, aren't you?
But
well, only some distros you're going to you like with the Arch with AUR you're going to compile, but with the mainline distro repos you're not going to compile anything.
Right, you're just getting what the Arch packagers they send you. You're not.
Yeah.
And you can compile.
And you say you'll notice a difference, but so what? So Firefox opens in 1.1 second instead of 1.8.
Right. Well, my entire
that's not even that. You're talking microseconds most of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
My entire point is that there is a difference, but the amount of time that you're going to spend to get that difference, you've wasted the effort, really.
Yeah.
So
I
like,
mean, we know
you're going to
Surge
save
is
5% maybe.
You've
but you're
wasted
gonna
time
spend
trying to
70%.
save time.
Yeah.
That's what it comes
Exactly.
down to.
Yeah. I mean, Surge talks about in the Telegram group that he's had Gen 2 boot up in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So does
But
Peppermint.
But
Next.
to do that, he spent 3 days installing Gen 2, though. That's a problem. You know?
3
It's
days would be that's a fast install.
Well, 3 days, man. I could have tested 10 distros in 3 days, man.
Well, on average, when I ask people how long it took them to install Gen 2 on their equipment, they usually break it up in 2 days. You know, you start one day, you don't finish it before you go to bed, and you have to finish it the second day. It usually is a 2 day.
If you've never done Gen 2 ever, it's like about a week. It's like probably because if you have to learn like all the ins and outs, it'll probably take a little longer. So I'd say probably about a week is a good metric.
Yeah. I mean, if you were like the new Windows user and you didn't know what you were getting into, and for some reason you've got a Gen 2 live disk or whatever, and you're
if you're not interested in learning the basics and you try to do that, I don't think you'd get past the first day and you just give up.
No.
So,
I believe Ikey Doherty can boot up his Solus in 0.4 seconds. Is that right?
Is that right?
Solus is actually ridiculous.
He said
fast.
On his Beast machine, yeah.
Yeah,
now, Solus
it was fast in general. I was doing like a multi-boot test thing, and I loaded up all the other ones, every distro that I have on the multi-boot, and there's like variety of different DEs, and they all load up and they go roughly the same amount, a few seconds or so. And then I started a Solus and looked at it. I was like, oh, it's already there. What?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay.
Anyway, I just wanted to give a big shout out to Zeb because he does some great live streams for real world users rather than Mr. Techie Guy, and he's very balanced. So I just wanted to give Zeb's stream on Monday. Please don't miss it. It's how to convert a submarine torpedo tube into a microphone.
Hey, what if Calculate was the worst on the stream? What was the best? You got to give us, flip side.
Peppermint.
Peppermint.
If you're going to be setting your and I can't remember which one it is, but there's like an 8. Steve might remember. Where's the one where you can lock the frame rate to 60 frames a second? If you turn that off. Actually, this version of MX Linux has provided the best, and it does a constant 115 frames a second.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Most of the others will sit there on my machine round about 60 to 90, depending on what part of the scenery is. But if you lock it down to 60 frames a second, most of them will just sit there quite happily and chunter away. Calculate couldn't go past 45 frames a second on exactly the same setup.
Ouch.
Well, I remember
really interesting.
I remember watching a video from Dolphin Oracle where he spoke about the fact that MX Linux releases memory a lot quicker than a lot of other distros. It has, I don't know how it does it, but it does release memory very quick. That's what makes it so fast. And it is fast.
MX is XFCE. What were you running in Calculate? What desktop?
XFCE.
You're running okay.
Yeah.
So it's the same.
So that's exactly the same.
My channel on Friday, I'll show you guys how to get 2,300 FPS in Minecraft. So
it's all about the voxels.
And just speaking on Ubuntu Budgie, they do the difference between Ubuntu Budgie and Solus is the fact that they have a lot of awesome applets going at the moment in Ubuntu Budgie. Mm-hmm. They are brilliant. And
I like applets. Yeah,
I would like to see whether they move them over to Solus themselves. I'm not sure whether that's possible or not, but
it should. Since it's built for Budgie, it should be fine if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Like Ubuntu 1804 is like Ubuntu Budgie 1804 is going to have like 3 or 4 new applets as well.
Yep. No, they're really good.
It depends if they'll take them though. Like I'm not sure the relation between upstream and Ubuntu Budgie is necessarily the best.
Well, they do hand over a lot of donations towards Solus, so Ubuntu Budgie do.
Good, I thought.
Yeah. I thought.
I think it's more of a. It's like Budgie is Ikey's like gym or whatever. So, to get him to I don't know if it's. There's sometimes where you
get him
think
to
you know
budge
best
on the
sort of thing.
subject.
You know, if someone has something that might not be where you want to go with it,
Right.
it might be something like that. Also,
Well, I think
he's working more on just switching it to Qt anyway for Budgie 11, and
I'm
it's
looking
probably not
forward to-
compatible.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, I don't know if it is or not, but I'm just saying I think it might not be because like the massive toolkit change would probably make the widgets or the applets not that like portable.
So may I just ask, Joe, what are you on at the minute, dude? What's your daily driver, man?
Well, I am still on Mate. I actually, not for lack of trying with MX17 this week, but earlier in the show I was talking about it. I loaded it up finally on this system, and I had everything running good. And as soon as I put the NVIDIA drivers in and tried to run ATS, everything went haywire. And then I finally, after messing literally all day, I'm talking about from in the morning all the way up until mid-evening, probably 8, 9 o'clock. I thought, you know what, the heck with it, I'll give Peppermint a try again, just to try it, and it was giving me quirks too. So I think it's an XFCE thing on this computer. I mean, I run it just fine, both of those. I've still got the laptop sitting here with Peppermint and MX17, and they run great on there. But on this hardware, it's, to me, if I can't have one component that's important to me, which is, my ATS or my Steam, it's like, why? So finally, I just threw up my arms, and I told these guys earlier, I said, why am I insisting on trying the switch for something I'm perfectly happy with? I mean, that's why I bought this laptop for, if I want to play with other distros. The problem is, it's like what you guys are talking about right now. It's, in one breath, it's a fair test because it is natively loaded on hardware. The other side of it where it's not fair is it's not on higher end hardware like what I'm running. Even though it's 4 years old, it's still an i7 as opposed to an i3, and even though it's a later gen, basic laptop's not going to run the same as a gaming desktop. So
I think it's still a fair. I think it's still a fair test anyway. I think it's not. I don't think it's a bad thing to do that on older hardware. I mean, I have all these for testing and stuff, and some of these are like.
But that's
12
the
years.
thing, Michael. Well, you're talking about the desktop here. Yeah, it's older, but yeah, it's going.
I'm just saying, like you shouldn't look at it it's not fair on that one side because it's not the most powerful option you have. I think it's perfectly fine because even any level of hardware is important for that. The data itself is important.
Well, if I was running MX17 without worrying about and I could still put proprietary drivers in there and it ran fine. But for whatever reason with the gaming part of it is where I ran into the issue. If I didn't care about that and I wanted to run it every day, whether I put the NVIDIA drivers in there or not, and do a workflow type of thing for using it for just work or everyday computing or that kind of thing, I could see it, it's a phenomenal. And matter of fact, remember we talked about, I said something changed in my Mate with the boot time. And I don't know if it was when I did a kernel update or whatever. I'm on 4.13 now, so it's not the latest anymore. But there was an update came in here and something changed in the boot time, and you thought it might have been a Spectre or Meltdown thing. And yet, as soon as I load up MX17, that thing boots like that. Same hardware, everything, but it boots instantly compared to Mate. So something did change here. So I'm being patient, and I'm going to wait for 1804. Come out. I'm going to bide a little time, make sure there's no bugs or glitches in it, and then I may just do a fresh install of Mate and be done with it.
So, Joe,
I really do like Mate. I've got no complaints. It works for me.
Yeah,
I was
same here.
able to dual boot with 2 separate drives. Maybe I should go to an IC dock or something instead of having them natively,
Joe,
inside.
what time frame are you talking about? How much longer does it take to boot?
Mate used to boot inside of anywhere from 15, 20 seconds max. Now it probably takes about 45 seconds, give or take, maybe even a little longer. It used to just, I could reboot it. I could boot it and boom, it seemed like it was right back up. And now it just sits there and it just seems like it's like booting Windows. I mean, it takes forever.
Okay, so it's not your swap file that suddenly changed its UUID, because that would then take over 90 seconds before it times out.
Well, and that's the other thing too. Now that you mentioned that, I did go from 40 gigs of swap that it natively put in there to 8, which might, I got 16 gigs of RAM, and maybe that did something to it.
Well, check your FS tab.
Swap. What does it matter?
Well, check FS tab, because if it's looking for a swap UUID that's not there anymore, then it will take an awful long time. So use the command BLKID in a terminal, get the UUID of your swap file, and make sure that FS tab has the correct UUID. Just to eliminate, but that normally takes over 90 seconds to time out.
I'd also point out that the difference between MX Linux 4.13 and Ubuntu Mate 4.13 is that MX Linux is not patched for Spectre Meltdown.
But there is a patch. Actually, there is a. If you go into their
website says that they have patches for 4.14 but not 4.13.
They have they had patches in there 4.14 and 4.15, and it said Spectre Meltdown patches.
Yeah, but those are not 4.13. So if you have the default kernel, they say the default kernel 4.13 does not have the patch, so it's not going to have that performance hit because it doesn't have the patch.
Also, Joe, are you talking about the latest MX17 release candidate 1, or are you talking about the previous version?
No, it's 7. It's just 17. I know 17.1 just got released, and I didn't do that.
Well, the reason I ask is because on the new release candidate, they had major problems compiling the NVIDIA drivers with the kernels. So they had to restart all over again and recompile them. So I didn't know but if you're not using RC1, then that's not an issue for you, my friend.
Yeah, otherwise I really like the system, but Mate, it may very well when I changed the swap, maybe I did exactly what Zeb said, maybe I messed up a swap file or something.
All right, so it's past time.
It's pumpkin time.
It's pumpkin time. So everybody gets the last word. Zeb?
Check out the latest episode of Destination Linux when it comes out. We had a fantastic guest, very knowledgeable. It was really, really enjoyable.
Yep. Matthias, last word.
Yeah, thanks.
There you go.
Okay, Colin?
Ubuntu Budgie 1804 for the win. PC TLC.
Toss?
Check out the latest Life in Linux 4 with Switch to Linux as we tell you how to erase yourself from the internet. You really can't, but we still talked about it.
You can't.
Spoiler.
Okay. Joe?
I think I pretty much had my last word that last time.
Chicken?
I'm going to make videos again.
Yes, I love it. Derek?
Well, I made an X-Monad video today just for Ryan, but he's not here. But I guess I'll just leave you with peace, guys.
Dig it. Simon?
I guess check out the next episode of Destination Linux and install Gentoo.
Yeah.
Or Calculate, or Redcore, or Sabian.
Michael?
No, just install Gentoo. Come on.
Tuxdigital.com.
/5 hours.
Yeah.
That would just directly to the live stream. Yep.
Homer?
Plan to make a lot of videos, but instead just type bunch of code, Python, a lot.
Like everybody else.
Yep.
Evie?
Yeah, I'd like a 5-hour last word, if that's okay, Rocco. And I'd like to begin. It's only going to be a short 5 hours. No, I'd just like to say thanks for a great show, Rocco. Thanks for all the effort and hard work you put in. And I genuinely mean this. I think this is the best Linux show on the net, bar none. So well done, buddy. Keep up the good work.
Way to be, man.
Work, Rocco.
Cheers. Check out Destination Linux episode 61. That's my last word. Everybody have a good night, and we'll catch you next week.
And remember,
No, that's wrong show. Wrong show. Wrong show. See ya.
Install Gen 2.